right. Try this again. Another episode of Spare Time. I'm Carlos. Today my guests are Mr. Ernie Dangerfield. He's a world-renowned electrician.
World-renowned.
Hunting guide. And one of my good friends. And back again is my buddy Mike.
Hello, hello.
Mike is the Sasquatch Whisperer.
Yes.
So,
yes.
How's it going, guys?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I'm always good, man. So I guess tell us a little bit about yourself, Ernie. Pretend like we don't know you for 50 years.
50 years. That's a
50
long time.
years. I'm not even 50 years old.
Close enough.
Yeah. Oh, a little bit about myself. So I was born and raised here in Oregon, or in Roseburg, Oregon. Lived here my whole life. What did we make, Carlos? Like we were 20 years old?
We were younger than that.
Were we younger than that?
You were younger than that for sure, because we were in high school. You were in high school.
Oh, that's
still.
right. Yeah. So we've known each other for a while.
Yeah.
Mike, I've known you about the same amount of time.
I got
as well.
a pretty good story about first meeting you.
Right?
Yeah. Pretty interesting.
Yeah. I tried to forget some of those.
Well, it's good to look back on and laugh and smile.
Right. Yeah. Definitely been a good journey. Met some great people along the way.
So how'd you end up being an electrician?
Dumb luck. I worked, all through high school, I worked at Chuck's Texaco pumping gas. Like every fine gentleman should start out.
I remember those days.
Right. Yeah. So, like all the electrical companies in Roseburg had accounts there, so they'd come in and charge their gas. And so I just bullshit with them every day when they come in. And turns out I ended up, one of my good friends, his uncle owned an electrical company. And so that's kind of how I got into the trade. Just got lucky.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I always wondered how you like it.
Now that you're seasoned.
Yeah, right. No, I like it. It's been good.
I know as you were doing it for a long time, I know a couple times you lived out of town and
I did. I traveled quite a bit younger early on in my career. And so that was fun. Got to see a lot of new places, meet a lot of people, made a lot of new friends. People I'm still friends with that I worked with 20 years ago. So yeah, it's been good. Obviously the pay's great.
Yeah.
The work's good.
Yeah, well, I think you got a pretty cush setup now, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
You could say that. I work for the state now, so it's not too demanding. Let's put it that way.
Got you hooked up with the retirement gig.
That's right.
Well, you got
Yes.
a super demanding boss there. So.
Well, I hope I could say this, but my boss is an asshole. But I tell him that every day. But he's also one of my best friends, so.
And everyone that knows him has the same opinion.
yeah, exactly.
I know that guy.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think everybody that knows him, in fact, they just refer to him as an asshole or a tight ass.
Tight ass.
Tight ass.
He's definitely that.
Yes,
Mr. Frugal.
for sure.
Yeah. So it pays the bills and you enjoy it? Or?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then somewhere along the line, you ended up getting into being a guide.
There again, punishment, I guess. Robbie, my boss at the university, is also my boss in the guiding business, so I get double punishment there. But yeah, it's that's a good gig as well. Get to do something. Hunting's always been probably one of my favorite pastimes. That's my my favorite hobby, or really my only hobby.
Yeah, a little while back we were talking about you taking Chloe out and helping her get her first elk.
Dude, that was so fun.
Yeah, you were telling me that
it was
you thought that was one of your
ever.
favorite
Yeah.
hunting trips ever.
Yep, absolutely. I have fun guiding with our clients. I have a lot of fun doing that, but there's something else when it's your kid, your own kid.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
And I can remember when she was 10 when she got her first deer, her first buck. So she mentored on my tag, and we actually had my dad, so Chloe's grandfather, and Doug Lopez, another great friend of ours, and his client with us. And they actually spotted the deer and got us in on it. And they watched the whole thing. And anybody that knows Chloe knows she doesn't show a lot of emotions. And it was quite comical because there was 3 grown men on that side of that hill, almost in tears. She just looking around like,
what's the big
what's
deal,
the big
guys?
deal? Yeah,
Yes.
I don't get it. What's the problem here? Yeah, so that was awesome. But I will say, when she killed her elk this year, that I finally got her to crack a smile, and I think she was overwhelmed. So it was.
I've got
it was
her to
cool.
smile a couple times.
Well, you two have a different relationship, so yeah.
She's a good kid though. Yeah, I don't think I ever really understood what pride is, having pride, being proud of somebody, until I had kids.
You're watching
Oh.
your children.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I thought I knew what it was all about, but it's a different level with your kids.
Totally.
Yeah, yep, for sure.
Yeah. And some of the stupid shit that you're proud of, dude.
Yep.
Like you see something, you're like, oh, this is one of the proudest moments of my life. And then you look back at it and you're like, why the fuck was I so proud of that?
Well, and
That's weird.
the funny thing is, it was probably something really stupid they did,
Yeah.
and that's why you were so proud of them, because
Yeah.
it was so stupid.
The thought process into it.
Yeah,
That's my kid.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
just because you look back and remember, oh, I did the same stupid thing.
Yep.
yeah. But yeah, there's little stuff like that, you know, it's crazy how proud it makes you. You know, when I remember when Justice was graduating from boot camp in the Navy, and I went and visited, and we were walking. There's parents walking around everywhere, and there's all these, you know, new recruits or whatever that are trying to say hello to their parents, and then they're supposed to be different places, and like every couple minutes they'd come up to Justice and ask her, hey, where are we supposed to be? What are we supposed to be doing? And I was just, and she wasn't any kind of higher rank or anything, but it just made me proud to see that, you know,
She was a leader.
her peers were
Natural
looking up
leader.
to her, you know, and I thought that was super cool. So yeah, even when we took her off base, we went to the mall and went shopping and stuff like that, and there was like people walking up to her in the mall and stuff, asking, you know, is it okay if we go do this?
Nice.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. So you mentioned that you love, you know, guiding for people, but you have more fun with your kids. But you know, tell me some stories about guiding for people. Is there any famous people you've guided for, or?
I've guided a few well-known people. Done quite a few TV shows. In fact, the other night at the Rocky Mountain Foundation, the Elk Banquet Foundation, I had a gentleman come up to me that recognized me from a TV show.
Nice.
And it's probably the TV show that it bothers me it doesn't bother me, but it annoys me the most, because it was the one where they made me eat the jackrabbit. So yeah, there's that one.
Now you told me that story.
Was that local?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and
right up
you
here.
told me that was actually one of the best things you've ever ate.
Surprisingly enough,
Yeah.
Doug and I, we fought it the whole way. And funny thing is, when I watched that show air, there's commentary from both Doug and I saying we refuse to eat it.
Absolutely
that they're
not.
vermin.
Yes.
They're they carry diseases. They're rodents. No, we are not doing it. But then there's also they got us on tape saying, both of us saying,
That's
wow,
amazing.
that's some of the best meat.
Goes back to how you prepare. it,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us
so
a little bit more about that story, because that was actually a pretty good story.
So his name is Mike Robeson, and he's a classically trained chef.
He's from overseas, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's from Britain, and he was an eccentric fellow. Great sense of humor, absolute gentleman. And so it was one of those days where the fog had settled in the valley, and you couldn't see anything. And so we went to breakfast. We didn't even go hunt. I picked him up from the motel and we went and had breakfast. And so we waited till, I don't know, it was probably 10, 11 o'clock in the morning before the fog lifted enough that we could see. So we headed up there, and Doug was actually following us up behind us. And we had the whole camera crew, the cameraman's hanging off out of the back of my truck, filming as we're driving up the road, and we're just doing all this TV stuff, right? And come around the corner, and here come this jackrabbit, which you don't see a lot of them up there, but it's a jackrabbit,
just a
right?
mangy jackrabbit.
Yeah, and the first thing that comes to my mind is it's a rodent,
yeah.
And so. Anyways, it was late enough in the morning hunt that it was like, can I shoot it just to shoot something, just making TV? And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't care, And
Get it?
well, Doug had just got
that suppressor.
He just got that suppressor and
Perfect.
on his 22. So we busted that thing out, and Mike made an amazing headshot. It was probably 40 yards, and so we thought we were done and over with.
Oh, no.
We made a little comment on, they recorded it on TV or on the camera, and we did a little interview about it and whatnot. And the next thing I know, he's asking me questions like, was it like what species and what family does it belong to? And he convinced me that it was part of the hare family, and hares were safe to eat.
Sure.
And I said, I don't care what you want to call it. It's a jackrabbit, and I'm not eating it. And next thing I know, he folds the tailgate down and he just dresses it out right there. And he said, I'm going to change your mind. And I'm like, I don't think you can.
No.
And here come another jackrabbit right out. I mean, 10 minutes. We'd been there 10, 15 minutes doing all this, and here comes another one.
That must be the key to seeing them. You just shoot one and then more come along.
He shot another one because he thought we needed more meat.
Sure.
So he dressed that one out, and we threw him in the cooler, and we hopped in the truck, and we decided to go look for some deer. And the rest of the way up the hill, he's telling me this menu. He's preparing this menu in his head.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, so I'm going to need to go to the grocery store, and I'm going to need to get this spice and this spice. And some of these spices I'd never even heard of. And he's talking about all this stuff he can do with them. And I just sitting there thinking to myself, I don't care how you prepare it. We're not going to eat it. And, so he was also sponsored by Traeger. And so this was, he's sponsored by Loophole, and Loophole hunts with us. So Loophole did a deal with him and Traeger. So Traeger sent down a grill, and we had Shane from Loophole as well. And so we finished out our day, didn't see any deer, finished out our day, and we go back to the house, and he starts preparing this jackrabbit, and he tells me so he did it two ways. We went to Fred Meyer's and bought $200 in spices
just for the jackrabbit.
Different, ingredients.
Well, it's got to make it good. You spend that much money.
Right. Yeah. So he threw it. He broke it all down. He had he broke it down into chops and a saddle, and did all this different. It was kind of cool watching him cut it up. And So threw it all on the Traeger and smoked her up, and then I shouldn't even admit this, but I'm going to. We actually pulled it right off the grill, right off the Traeger there, and took a bite of it. And man, I tell you what, that was some very tender and very, very, very flavorful.
Nice.
It was not what I expected at all. And I've never had rabbit before either, so I guess I didn't know what I was expecting. But
Right.
I've had rabbit. It's pretty good. I've never had jackrabbit.
yeah,
I had a girl that worked for me years ago, and she lived over in Eastern Oregon, is where she was from.
Mhm.
And she was telling me that you can totally eat jackrabbits, because I thought the same thing. But she was saying that you just have to check their glands under their arms or something. I don't know if it's their front legs or their back legs or whatever. As long as their glands aren't swollen, then they're fine. Because they get some kind of a disease or something.
Yeah, and I think too, you want to be careful if they're running with the sheep.
Sure.
If
The
the
area
sheep
that
are
they're
around.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a big one that you watch out for. But
Oh no, I know if I was like lost in the woods and I was starving,
Rabbit stew it is.
I'd
I'm
freaking eat
telling
the
you.
shit out of a jackrabbit.
I'm telling you, Mike changed my mind on jackrabbit. I could probably survive if I had to.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he ended up making so he took the rest of it and he put it in a crock pot with like chocolate and just all these different Mexican spices
cow.
and seasonings and
Yeah.
stuff. And he called it jackrabbit chili something or other. And it was like a mile-long name that he had.
You had rabbit tacos, basically.
And that's exactly what we had rabbit tacos at the end of it. And
Awesome.
well,
it
I always
was-
say if you make a taco out of it, it's gonna be
It's
good.
gotta be
it
good.
was so good. Shane and I made pigs of ourselves sitting there on camera just piling it in.
Oh, no.
And we actually had Robbie's wife came down and she tried it and she thought it was amazing. I actually took it home. It was sitting there on the counter. Both kids came home from school. They tried it and they were amazed at what it was.
You told them what it was after they ate it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you could put
Yeah.
Grant on that. I bet he'd freaking have a whole bushel
Oh.
of freaking jackrabbits.
Oh yeah. He would wipe this county out. And that kid.
We're going hunting, Dad.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you've told me some stories a few times of different chefs that you've taken out. I think that'd be like my favorite, man, is if they're going to cook for me afterwards. That's
Oh,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
Yeah. And that was
ultimate.
super cool having Mike. He also, when we did finally kill his deer, so over there, they handle their deer completely different. They leave the hide on them. So they'll gut them and they leave the hide on them and then throw them in the cooler overnight. And that was very interesting. It bothered me, but after I saw the process,
Sure.
I almost think I want to start doing it on my own game animals now. Obviously, depending on
Give it a
the
try.
weather.
Right.
You know, obviously during archery season, you don't want to do that, but when it's 90 degrees outside. But yeah, normally we dress the animal right there and then we skin it and then you throw it in the cooler or whatever or you hang it and, you know how they'll case over, they get that white, the meat cases over and,
Sure.
and, I've always been led to believe that, you know, like from butchers, that old school butchers, they'll leave them hang until they get a skim of mold growing on them. And then that's when they're ready to process. Well, those guys, they leave the hide on them, put them in the cooler, let them go overnight and, or until they're ready to process them. They'll pull them out, skin it. And the skin actually came off surprisingly easy. I was genuinely surprised about that. But what it does is it protects the meat and you don't get that case over, that hard skin that you trim all the way. And you know how like our meat, it'll turn that almost black
Yeah.
color
On the outside.
on the outside. And, you know, you
Oxygenized or whatever.
yeah, and you're trimming all that away. And, you know, at the end of it, you end up with a pretty good trimming piles of wasted meat. Well, the way they do it, they have no waste
No
whatsoever.
waste.
It comes off and it's nice and pink,
That's
and
pretty
it's
interesting.
And the
meat's
skin
cool
comes
down.
off easy?
Yeah.
Huh.
Pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
That is
So,
interesting. I'd be worried about the ticks.
Well, you're putting it in a cooler. I mean, it went straight from, the ranch
Body temperature.
to, it went right straight into the walk-in. So,
Yeah, I don't have a walk-in, so.
right.
Someday.
But so he owns it's actually a Michelin 4-star restaurant, and they have a game farm. And so they process, they go out and they shoot the not the roe deer.
Is that red deer? Or...
Gosh, maybe it is a roe deer. No, it's not the roe deer.
Huh.
No, I forget.
One of those little deers, right?
It's comparable to ours,
Yeah.
size-wise, but they're like vermin. They're just overrun. And so they shoot. He's so tired of shooting. They shoot like 3,000 deer a year.
Holy
But that's-
moly.
Yeah. And so he has a big processing plant, and that's how they process all their deer. And they sell the deer in the restaurant.
Dude, that'd be awesome. I would love to
So-
go to a restaurant and just eat venison. That'd be so
Mhm.
good.
Right? Isn't that the dream, the life dream? Just be able to eat elk and deer all day or every day.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Yeah.
But I gotta
I'd
shoot
like
it first, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a very good hunter, so I don't kill
Me
very
neither.
Whatever. You don't ever get to shoot your own. You freaking end up
don't.
taking leftover meat
I
from all your
don't.
hunters.
Yeah. We are very fortunate that not all of the hunters, but some of our hunters leave the meat behind. And so we either donate the meat to a needy family, or the guides will keep the meat for themselves as well.
Sure.
Did you ever get just like your local deer tag and hunt or no?
I do, but it's between kids and sports. And then, I mean, depending on how the season went, I could be guiding for
Definitely.
5 months.
Dude, it'd
And
be cool though.
You kind of
It'd be cool if you
burned
could
out.
at least like put away like 2 or 3 days and go out with us, dude. It'd be fun.
Yeah, well, we've been talking about it. We're
For
we're
years.
Even in the
definitely
middle of the week. We can do the middle of the week. I don't care.
Yeah, well, when you work for the state, I got plenty of time off.
There you
so-
go.
I can always
and-
schedule a doctor's appointment.
yeah,
Honestly.
absolutely.
And I'm the boss,
But-
so I can leave whenever the fuck I
Right.
want.
But we're definitely gonna do the spring bear this year, right?
All right. Well, it's
You're
all-
the only one with the tag, so
I can kill anytime. It's just bear for me. I don't have a spring and
well,
fall.
but they're sleeping right now.
Yeah.
Not really. They don't do that in Oregon.
Yeah, but we're gonna go this spring when the weather gets nice. We'll go find you a bear.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, my tag's actually already active, so
Right. Now's not a very good time though.
probably not.
No. Plus it's raining, and I don't like to get wet.
No. So, what are some of your pet peeves of hunters?
Stupid people. I hate stupid people.
Well, I think that goes for anything.
Yeah.
Groups it all into one
Right.
stupidity.
I know. You've told me several stories of when you've had to freaking like take the rifle out of their hands and freaking shoot the animal for them.
Yeah, there's been a couple times where we've had to finish off the animals for the hunters for various reasons, but I used to be a patient person, and I'm not anymore. It's tough. Some of these guys are. I've been very fortunate. On the most part, I've had really good clients, and it's kind of funny. I don't know if it's done on purpose or if Robbie really truly does maybe have a heart. Robbie gets stuck with the
Biggest pain in the ass, people.
Yeah. So on the most part, our clients are pretty good. I've only had a couple that had just kind of annoyed me. Some of the clients, they'll just sit in the rig all day. They won't even get out. They expect you to glass the deer for them and do everything but shoot it for them. I've had a couple of those guys. I had one guy just sit in my truck and smoke cigars all day long.
Dude, that sounds like a good hunting trip to me.
It is if you enjoy the smell of cigars. It took me literally 2 years to get the smell of cigars out of my truck.
So you just bought a new truck?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one's ruined.
Yeah. It was terrible.
I only smoke cigars in my truck with the windows down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, I can't do the hold the cigar in your mouth thing for just a second. I can't do it longer. I'm not like freaking, what's his name from
Just
freaking
sit there
A-Team.
Yeah. Just sit there and
I
chew
can't do
on it.
that. I'll freaking choke to death. So it's really hard to drive with a cigar.
I can only imagine. Yeah.
You have to be on a mountain road because you can't be moving very fast.
Well, and you saw me in Vegas. You know how well I deal with cigars.
Oh my God, dude. Well, I don't know that I was dealing with them very good either when I saw you dealing with them.
You weren't functioning very well, but that wasn't because of the cigars.
Yeah. But what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Sometimes.
Yeah. That one might have lingered over a couple of days.
Yeah, for sure.
That was a good night.
So any other cool stories from taking people
Oh,
out?
geez, there's all kinds of cool stories.
I know this isn't a guide story, but you just got back from Mexico not very long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Mike hasn't heard about it. Tell us a little bit about that Mexico trip.
That was a great...
It sounds like you got to experience some shit that people don't usually get to experience.
Yeah, that was a great trip. Finally got to actually hunt for myself, do something. I mean, like I said earlier, you don't get to hunt for yourself very much,
Right.
and especially now with the kids. And that's the thing, I guess. I don't really care to hunt for myself anymore. I have more fun hunting with the kids.
Definitely.
So, but yeah, we had this opportunity to come up. Robbie and I did to go to Mexico, and so it was kind of a trial and error deal. We were the guinea pigs. We went down to this place, and if it works out, if it was everything that it was supposed to be, it works out. We were either going to keep it for ourselves and just kind of do an annual guys trip, maybe take a client down there or, friend or whatever, and just do this Mexico for a Coos deer. And so that was one option. The other option was Robbie was looking at possibly guiding down there as well, taking clients down there. And I don't know his name. I referred to him as our coyote. He's the one that met us on this side of the border and took us to the other side of the border. He's kind of the one that orchestrated this whole thing. So supposedly he had mule deer tags as well. So there was an opportunity to see how this whitetail hunt went. And if it turns out there was opportunities for mule deer as well. So this was just kind of an exploration trip, but it turned out amazing. Robbie and I went, we were supposed to take one of our other good friends, Danny, the worthless fishing guide. Actually, I take that back. He's probably the best fishing guide there is. But he couldn't make it happen. So we took one of our clients who he's hunted with us, I don't know, 4 or 5 different times. And this guy is the luckiest guy I've ever seen in my entire life. But he's also the biggest pain in the ass that I've ever experienced in my entire life. And so against our better judgment, we took him. And so Robbie and I drove to Phoenix, and we met Joe in Phoenix. And then we all loaded up and went down to this little crap hole town and met our coyote. And that was a whole nother adventure in itself, getting across the border when you don't speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And
I can imagine.
Did you start your Spanish speaking lessons yet?
I started and I didn't make it very far. I gotta start that back up again.
Driving around with the audiobooks.
Well, yeah, it's, I got 2-hour drive every day.
Freaking
So
babble, right?
Yeah, I got plenty of time to learn it. So yeah, we get down there and our coyote tells us, so we kept getting mixed stories. And this is kind of when I knew this was not going to be a good trip.
Something's not adding up.
Yeah. So initially we were told that the house we were going to stay in, it's just a little ranch house, and we were only like an hour over the border, and it didn't have power, so there's no power to the house, and which is fine. But it supposedly it had running water, and you know, I go camping, so
Yeah.
you know I'm good.
Yeah.
And so then, as we're getting closer to go time, the story changes, and now it's, you know, we're still an hour over the border, but now the house has solar, and we have water and whatnot, and so like, oh, cool, you know, we've got, you know, we'll be able to charge our phones and whatnot, and they told us we had cell service, which was kind of reassuring because
Sure.
at least we could stay in contact because we didn't know what we were
You
getting
never
ourselves
know.
into.
Yeah.
And yeah, so anyways, we literally drive for an hour across the border, or from the border, to this little town, and so I love carnitas. I think I told you this story, how it was, or not, I'm sorry, I already screwed it up. This is where we'll have to edit. God damn it. What am I thinking of? The steak.
Carne asada.
Carne asada. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like, I love carne asada. So we get down there, and our coyote asked us, "Hey, are you guys hungry?" Like, yeah, we can eat. And he's like, "Oh, you guys like carne asada?" And I'm like all over it. I'm a fat kid, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just like all over this. And so I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take all of it." And he's like, "Okay, we got the real thing, you know." And so we actually had cell service in that town. And I was so excited. I sent Kelsey a text, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to have carne asada, the real, authentic carne asada." And, you know, I get a smart ass reply back that I'm an asshole and this, that, I left her at home and whatever. So we pull up to this janky ass restaurant, and he tells us to stay in the truck and lock the doors.
Just wait a minute.
Yeah. And I'm looking around like, where are we? And it's, dude, it's crazy because it was like coming through the border, there was just armed military people
Present.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And it, when you come through the border there where we were coming through, it looked like a war zone.
You're going into a war zone.
Yeah.
And you,
I mean,
said that happened like basically you go around the block and it changes into
That's the thing. Yeah. On the American side, we checked our rifles, we did all that, and we literally drove 100 yards just around this fence. And it was like stepping back into the 1920s, and it was a war zone.
Nice.
And the asphalt, the you know, the roads were just, it looked
Straight
like
to
a
mud.
bomb went off. And so yeah, anyways, we the coyote comes out with our carne asada, and he's like, "Well, you want to eat now, or you want to wait till we get to the farmhouse?" And we're like, "Oh, we can wait till we get to the farmhouse." Boy, was that a mistake. So we go a couple more blocks down the road, pick up a couple other guys who were drunk off their ass. I mean, drunk.
We are here to help you.
And they proceed to tell us that, so this was another one of where the story changed. Initially, we had this whole place to ourselves. Then after we picked up these drunk guys, it was, well, there's gonna be a guy staying up there he's the ranch hand basically, you know. So like, oh, okay, cool. Well, then we pick up these drunk guys, and we're like, ooh,
who's the ranch hand?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
So we proceed to drive, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes and out of this town. And you're right next to it's the second largest copper mine in the world. And so you're driving by, and same thing, there's just armed security guards everywhere.
Yeah.
Every guard's packing an AR-15, and I mean, it's crazy, and they're all wearing their flak jackets and everything. And so we get around that mine. Well, we stop at they refer to it as a shooting range. So we stop there, and they tell us, we have to wait for the landowner. So it's like, okay, what are we doing here? And we're just sitting on this gravel road, and there's these chickens just running around. I don't know what kind of, I don't know what kind of dog it was. It looked like a maybe lab.
It's a chupacabras everywhere.
Yeah. That thing had, like, its legs were like 3 inches long. Its body was like 4 feet long.
Nice.
And it just, kind of had a lab head. And
it's like a cross between a lab and a basset hound.
Yeah. And, the old lowrider. And anyways, it's kind of cool. But so we sit there for probably a half hour, 45 minutes. And we just started drinking beer sitting there. And so finally the landowner shows up, and it's this old Mexican dude. Doesn't speak a lick of English, and we don't speak any Spanish. And so it was a finger pointing show from there on. And
did your coyote guy speak English?
Yeah. So he was our translator. So, but the thing is, what I've learned is he doesn't tell the whole truth.
No, you never know what they're saying, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you don't know what they're telling them, and you don't know what they're saying.
And that's what we found out when we were trying to come back home. Is he lied to us. But yeah, so our hour over the border turned into like 2.5 hours. And we drove for an hour. Just imagine going into like the most desolate part of Eastern Oregon and just driving an hour even farther.
Even farther.
And there's nothing, and all of a sudden here's this little shanty, and so turns out there was two ranch hands that stayed. One was the landowner's, come to find out after
relative.
It was a landowner's son. And then we referred to him as Cowboy. He was an old, I don't know what kind of cigarettes they were, but I bet he smoked 3 packs a day.
Just one cigarette after another one.
After another.
Choo-choo train.
Yeah. And when he'd start coughing, he'd hack up a lung. There would be these chunks of stuff everywhere.
Gross. Nice.
Yeah. It was, wow.
Kick some dirt on that.
Yeah. So yeah, that was interesting. The hunting was great.
Robbie killed that monster.
He killed a giant cougar.
That's pretty cool.
Giant cougar. He can't shoot a deer to save his soul. I mean, that guy. I've been with him on several hunts, and that guy cannot shoot a rifle to save his soul. But you give him a bow, and it's dead. And I mean, he'll 80 yards, 100 yards. He'll shoot it with his bow.
Nice.
But you put something, I don't care if it's 20 yards with a rifle, he's going to miss every time. But so how he hit that cougar is beyond me.
He was probably afraid to freaking eat him.
Yeah.
That thing was huge.
I better make this count.
It was huge.
Yeah.
It took 2 of us to pick it up and hand it to him to take that picture.
That cougar was, I think that's what people imagine they're going to run into.
Cougars are going to be like, yes.
And those are very rare to see one that
They are
big.
I've been around quite a few cougar kills, and I've seen a few live in the woods, and I've never experienced one that big. That thing, it was just a giant tomcat. He was so old. His teeth, they were just nubs. There was nothing. There's no way he could chew meat.
I mean, he just canine teeth in there. Just
yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's nuts. He was pretty massive though. That was awesome.
Beautiful picture.
And the shitty thing is, that's all it turned out to be was a picture. There again, the coyote screwed us on that deal.
Is he still working on trying to get that thing over the border?
He's still trying. Yeah.
I told you it's going to end up being like an actual coyote bringing it over.
Well, so
Or like Mexican mafia.
so that's what it ended up when we got to the border, and they determined that we absolutely could not bring it across. We got to the other side of the border finally, which was just an absolute fiasco. The coyote pulled Robbie out of the truck, and anyway, they had a conversation. Well, then Robbie gets back in the truck, and he's just shaking his head, and he's like, "You're not going to believe this." And I'm like, "Yeah, what now?" And he says, "That son of a bitch had the nerve to tell me he wanted to charge me $3,000 to bring just the skull."
Jeez.
Just to bring it across the border. And when Robbie basically told him to go fuck himself, the guy said, "Well, just so you know, I mean, these are the bad guys that are bringing it across, and that's what they're going to charge." So
He's like, it is what it is.
yeah, so
Take it or leave it.
supposedly the coyote's dad has the hide, and that was a shitty thing. Was Robbie spent hours.
Making
He
sure it was all proper.
life-sized it.
Yeah.
He caped it out life-size. I mean, he did an amazing job taking care of it, all for nothing. But supposedly the dad put it in the freezer, and Robbie's still trying to work some kind of deal to get it.
So you going to be able to go back there? Because I really want to do that.
Yeah, so Robbie's working on it. We found out that Robbie and I may have trouble getting back into Mexico.
Uh-oh.
Our coyote fucked us on that deal. So basically, when it came time to come home, so we were coming through on a Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. We were coming home. And Joe had a 1 o'clock flight in Phoenix scheduled. And so we'd planned it. We had enough time to get through the border and then get him to the airport. And so when we pulled up to we literally pulled up and blocked. This is another one of those. When I said stupid people drive me nuts, this was this right here. So we pull up and we block the entrance into the Mexican military base.
Uh-oh.
And so the coyote gets out. He goes up and talks to the guard. And he's talking for a while. And then the coyote comes over and he's like, "Oh, I got bad news." And about that time, that door slid open. It was a rolling gate. And it's solid. All solid. So you can't see in there. But so that sliding gate rolls open. And here's all these, I don't know, they were like Humvees. And they're all got 50 cal machine guns strapped to and they got a guy stand behind it. And so here's this 50 cal pointed straight at my head, and they're motioning for us to get out of the way because we're blocking it. So I'm like, "Robbie, you need to move this truck now. Just get fucker going." So we get out of the way, and there was, I'm going to say there was 20 rigs that pulled out of there, and every one of them had a guy standing there manning that 50 cal, and they were on a mission. And so, come to find out, the military base was closed for the weekend.
Uh-oh.
So they couldn't clear our firearms. So that was the deal. You check your firearms going in, and you have this paperwork. Well, you have to check your firearms coming out to make sure that you didn't take firearms down there. And
obviously, yeah.
sell them. So they have to make sure they're coming back. And so they're closed, and they don't know anything about any forms or any paperwork.
No
or anything.
paperwork. Oh, no.
And so, because I had killed a deer, we had to go on the U.S. side. We had to go through the border patrol or the border crossing that had an FDA
Oh, yeah.
deal. So, because they had to inspect the deer. Well, that crossing was right there. Well, supposedly that crossing you weren't allowed to bring firearms through. So the firearm crossing was an hour out of the way, but they didn't have the FDA,
Sure.
so we couldn't bring the deer through there. So this is what our coyote's telling us. And so the coyote looks at me and he's like, well, we can go up. We can check your firearms up there. You can just give me your deer and I'll just ship you your deer. And I just looked at him and I said, absolutely not. I'm not leaving here without it. And just because I know how those guys operate, and I know hunting with our clients, guiding, that I've heard them talk about some horror stories and whatnot. So, you get home and they ship you your thing. Well, they want they want $1,000
Yeah. Where's my
for
money?
shipping, and so they hold your stuff ransom and whatnot. Or they'll end up shipping you the wrong horns or deer or whatever. So I didn't want to deal with that. And so we just said, screw it. And so the coyote told us that, hey, we got one other option.
You want to hand me one of those bottles of whiskey?
Yeah. He tells us we got one other option. We can just say, screw it, and not check our guns and just go through the FDA, check our deer. And because it's not the U.S. side that cares about the guns, it's just the Mexican side. And so we asked, well, what are the consequences? What's going to happen? And he's like, oh, nothing. I've had a few people do this, and nothing ever. Basically, that paperwork just kind of sits out in limbo, out in Never Land, and eventually it just kind of ends up in the round file. So. Like, well, screw it. Let's go. We had to get Joe back to the airport. And so since then, we've talked to a few people, and that paperwork doesn't ever go away. And so those guns, right now, it looks like those guns are still in Mexico and they've never left. And so if we try to go back, our names are there and those guns are on file.
You guys are traffickers.
Yeah.
There's got to be someone you guys can contact to clear that up.
So I know Robbie, luckily for me, I'm pretty much in the clear because
Oh, Robbie did them in his name.
Robbie did them in his name so we could save some money on
awesome
the
of
permit
him to do
fees.
that.
Yeah. So,
But now he's a freaking arms smuggler.
Yeah.
right. So one
in every group.
when we were in Nashville at SCI, we actually talked to an outfitter there and told him what had happened. And he is actually high up in basically like the guide council for the Sonora Desert area. And like he deals with this kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And so he was telling us, he's like, man, you guys are screwed. He's like, we might be able to help you. So he gave us his contact info and we're supposed to reach out to him and he's going to help us try to clear all this. But he said there's a chance that, like, even if we were just to go to Mexico on vacation, that they wouldn't even let us through into the country because our names.
Or they'd let you through and throw you right in jail.
Yeah, you're never coming back.
So
I'd be more scared of that than I would be not
Exactly.
getting in there.
So it was great hunt trip. I mean, I got stories to tell, right?
Sure.
So I mean, that was pretty cool, but things will be. And here's a shitty deal. So our other buddy Sam went with another group of guys, like a week after. Actually, we passed it. They were headed down as we were headed out. We
Same
passed them.
place.
No, they went farther down into Mexico. But he went with a group of guys that they actually have the lease, and so they go every year. I think there's 14 of them that go. There's 14 tags for that property, and so they go every year. And we were told we couldn't bring any of the meat home. They brought every ounce of meat they brought home. They brought all their deer.
That's weird.
They brought everything back through the same entry port. They did everything. And so Sam was telling us how they did it. And so, basically our coyote he got paid. And
Sounds like a communication thing.
yeah, it just screwed us. So, but now we know.
sucks.
We know for the next trip.
Yeah.
So,
Well, hopefully there's a next trip because I really want to do that.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
yeah.
That's actually a trip that I could afford.
Yeah. And that's what's cool is it actually is affordable for the.
It's not like Africa where you got to spend $15,000.
Yeah. Well, Africa's cheap. It's just getting your animals home is the
What's the point of killing them if you're not going to be able to bring them home?
Yeah. That's true.
But yeah, that'd be fun. So, that sounds like a crazy trip. What kind of big fails have you seen with, on hunts?
Big fails. What?
Like, I don't know, big mess ups and whatnot. I know it wasn't a guided trip, but I know you guys almost had to leave your rigs and campers on a elk hunt last year.
Yeah, that's true.
Snowstorm
I kind of
came
forgot
in.
about that. Yeah. You know, Robbie's elk hunt. Luckily, the day I left is when the storm blew in. So, I mean, I made it out. It was tough getting out, but I just had my truck, so it was no big deal. But
I have heard of a couple hunters that were over there who had to leave stuff there. Like they left a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah, I know from past experience. I know several people that have left stuff behind and came back to nothing, or you know, just the snow just absolutely destroyed
Everything. Yeah.
everything. Yeah. So yeah, that was my first experience really. With any kind of failure, I guess.
Yeah, that'd make an expensive trip even more expensive.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You also brought back a pack rat, didn't you? Or no, Robbie did.
Robbie did. Yeah.
Or get in his vehicle.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I just ended up with a digger squirrel that I'm still hunting. I'm not. I don't know. I may have brought. No, I don't. I think I brought that off of one of the ranches. Brought it home with me, but I got Grant out there on squirrel patrol right now.
Yeah, I saw it
yeah.
when I was over there. Yeah.
Keep him busy.
Yeah.
So what kind of stuff's on your bucket list for the future?
For hunting?
Hunting,
Or-
whatever, yeah.
You know, first and foremost, I'm going back to Nashville.
Yeah.
Yes. That was when you get off the plane and there's a giant sign that says "Welcome to Smashville." You know you're gonna have a good time.
Yes.
That was
That's one of the places I want to go check out.
Yeah.
I haven't been there either.
it was so fun, so fun. In fact, I think I'm wearing my Holler and Swaller shirt.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a great time. That's definitely on the bucket list. The food was amazing.
Yeah.
I bet I gained 20 pounds.
Nice.
Food was amazing.
Somewhere
What else?
over there, I can't remember. It's like Kentucky or Nashville or Tennessee. I don't know. Somewhere in that
Well,
general
Nashville's
vicinity.
in Tennessee, so
Well, I mean, somewhere in that general vicinity of the U.S. is the freaking bourbon convention.
I'm guessing probably Nashville.
And
Yeah.
Chris and I were talking about going to that, but that shit looks pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So-
Well, and you know me, I don't drink whiskey, but I talked to I've had a few of my friends go to Nashville and they do the whiskey tours, and they talk about what an amazing fun time that is.
Probably comparable to the wine tours
I think
that we
this-
have here. You know?
Yeah, probably, but I think this is probably more exciting.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, wine,
Whiskey, yes.
yeah. Who drinks wine? But
Lame.
yeah. Yeah, so definitely Nashville's on the bucket list again.
Kind of hunts.
So we just had, I went to Africa. And the funny thing is I said I went to Africa and I'd probably never go back. It was kind of a one and done thing. But we had the outfitter that we went with, he's a good friend. And he was just here recently in the States. And so we went up to Portland, saw him, and he got me talked into bringing Chloe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm genuinely excited for that.
That'd be fun.
I think we're going to look into that.
It'd be one heck of an experience for her.
So when we were out to lunch a while back, you were telling me a couple of stories about Africa that I don't think anybody ever mentions when they're talking about hunting trips. And you were talking about how, yeah, there's cooks and helpers and stuff around camp or around the lodge or wherever you stay.
Right.
But they're not really paid employees. You were saying that they're like actual
they're
slaves.
full on slaves. That's part of why I said that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I said I would never take my kids there, at least to South Africa. It's full on slavery. I mean, full on. And maybe I live a sheltered life. I don't know. I'm not a racist person,
Mm-hmm.
so I've never experienced anything like that. So it was a definite eye opener. I definitely never treated them as slaves, which none of us did. None of us did. In fact,
Certainly. Yeah.
In fact, Danny and I, there we go again, Danny. We got in trouble because we started out. We went to a farm. We were looking for a kudu. That was my bucket list animal, was a kudu. And so we went to this farm and we met with the landowner, and that's typical of Africa, South Africa, anyways. You go to these farms and you meet the landowner, and then that landowner provides you so I refer to them as trackers. They're your guide basically, but they're a slave, and so their job is they know the farm.
Yeah.
Right, because they work the farm every day, and so they know where the animals are, and so that's their job. Is they will take, basically they're kind of the tour guide. They take you and show you, where the animals. So, and every farm has different animals, and so depending on what animal you're looking for, they're in different areas of the farm. And so, there again, they don't speak English, and so communication was really tough, and. This guy had just got his ass chewed big time by the landowner. He screwed up, and so they had this, literally, it was an old wooden spoked, just a giant wagon, like something you saw off a Little House of the Prairie. It was a wagon.
Yeah.
A wooden wagon, but it was, for all practical purposes, it was a dump truck, but it was man-powered.
Holy moly.
And so these guys were picking up basketball-size rocks and putting them in this wagon, and they were hauling them from one part of the farm to the other. Well, they got it a little back-heavy, and it came right out of this guy's control and dumped. He spilled them everywhere. And ironically enough, it happened right in front of us while we were talking to the landowner. And so we witnessed this whole thing. And so the landowner excused himself from us and went over and proceeded to just rip this guy a new one.
Berate him, yeah.
It probably wasn't even as bad as it would have been if you weren't there, too.
Maybe. I don't know. The way they treat those guys,
That's what I'm saying. It probably would have been worse if you.
Oh,
guys
yeah.
weren't in there,
I misunderstood. Yeah, you're probably right. So the ironic part is, so there was two guys doing this, filling the wagon there. Well, the poor guy that didn't do anything wrong got stuck picking up Jimmy's mess that
Sure.
he caused. Well, Jimmy got sent with us to be our tour guide. And so Danny and I, we took all kinds of snacks. It's like, you go to Costco and you buy the bag of the different candy bars and M&Ms and licorice and stuff. And we had so the outfitter provides the drinks. So we had a cooler that had they're big on Coke. Coca-Cola is like their number one. Coca-Cola and Fanta.
Sure.
That's like their two drinks. And so we had a cooler of Coke and Fanta, and then and they're little cans, little guys. thought that was kind of
The
interesting.
little one drinkers.
Yeah. And
Those are specifically made for mixed drinks.
yeah, not in Africa.
Out there.
No, that's their normal. They don't have like normal 12-ounce
Well,
cans.
that's because other countries don't believe in fat people.
Right. Yeah, there's no, you know, now that you say that, I don't think I saw not an overweight black person. No. But anyways, that's because they're all working hard. And then we had a cooler of beer, Black Label beer, which is some of the best, finest beer I've ever had.
And you guys drank half the country out of beer, didn't you, while you were there?
We did. So Spiker's wife had to go to a different town to buy beer because we had drank the town dry.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I forget. They counted it up, how many cases we drank.
That's a testament to DC Outfitters.
Yeah, it was unreal. Yeah. But we fed that guy. We just kept handing him candy and soda. And then at the end of it, after I killed my animals, we were coming down and so we had a bunch of rand, you know, the African currency. And so I don't know what the exchange rate is, but let's say $1 is probably 100 rand. So we gave them the equivalent of probably $500-600 in rand, which was only probably $20, you know, in US. And man, that guy was just like lost his mind. He was so happy. And so we dropped him off, and Spiker, our PH, the outfitter, he gets out and he comes back and he just proceeds to, he saw it happen. He saw us give him the money and he just proceeds to rip our ass.
Don't ever.
And we're like, what's the problem? You know, I mean,
no.
He did a great job and he was fun. And, which, and I kind of felt bad too. And I'm kind of skipping around in the story here. I left out the part we took some of Bart's famous Carolina Reaper jerky over there. And, fuck, that was bad. So, Spiker kept making the tour guide. I call him tour guide. Because
They're almost like a Sherpa, aren't they?
they're a slave.
Yeah.
There's no good way around it. They're just a slave. Kaffir, that's the term for, that's the polite term for a African slave, is a Kaffir.
That's probably actually a good position for them, though. I mean, in the scheme of things, because, I mean, you guys obviously don't treat them like they're freaking slaves. And, you know, so they get to deal with people that aren't used to that. So they don't get treated as bad as they would if they just worked on some ranch. And
yeah. The problem is because they know Americans treat them that way, so they'll take advantage of it. You see that a lot, but I think, gosh, it's just, I don't know. It's there again. It's a whole nother, it's just weird. I mean, you're stepping out of your element.
Sure.
And,
well, honestly, when you told me about it, it was just something that had never even occurred to me, you know?
And that's what I'm saying. Maybe I should live a sheltered life, but I've never experienced that before.
Yeah.
Never seen it. Just
you know, obviously we went through school, right? And we
reading
learned
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, we learned about it, but until
Maybe
you
some of these
actually
people
experience it.
around here in the States that think they deserve reparations should go on a
Check
trip
it out.
over there to see what they're
Yeah.
actually, what
That's
their
the
life's
thing.
actually all about.
Right. And that's the thing too, is you think you have it bad here, go over there.
It's just
It's wow. That's
eye-opening.
unreal. Yeah.
Well, I've heard that from a lot of people. You go pretty much any other country and you're like, dude, we're from America. That's not like this. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, and there again, like, so our PH has picked us up from the airport, and so they weren't even going to let us. The African police weren't even going to let us out of the airport without bribing them. They wanted money to give a for them to give us our guns.
That's amazing.
And so one of our PHs basically just walked up and said, fuck you. I'm sick and tired of this. I deal with you every time we come in here.
You do this every time.
Same thing. He's like, I've watched you print 17,000 pages off of this printer, and now all of a sudden the printer's broke. Come on. No, we're not playing this game. We're taking our shit and we're going. Fuck you guys. Well, so we load everything, and there were 6 of us on that trip, and they drive little Toyota Tacoma, for the 4-door Tacomas. The cool thing is they're diesel, though.
Diesel.
Yeah. Super cool. Anyways, there's 6 of us, and we all have, 10 days worth of gear and rifle cases and everything else. And so these trucks are just heaped over with all our gear. And they tell us while we're driving through South Africa, they're like, hey, we got to watch out. We got to be mindful. And our PHs, they were all packing. Like Dylan had a Glock 40 on his side, and I forget, Storm might have had a Glock as well. But it's basically those gangs in South Africa. They see that. They know there's big money in the back of those trucks.
You become the target.
So when you come up to a stoplight or a stop sign, whatever, they'll just pinch you in, and then they steal all your shit. Or they stand on the sidewalks, and as soon as you stop, they run across the street and just steal the shit right out of the back of the truck. And you don't even know, because you're face forward, and so you don't even know. So they told us, hey, whenever we come to a stop, we got to be mindful of what's
Somebody
around
jump
us.
out with a gun.
Yeah. Yeah. So here, once again, me living a sheltered life, that was fresh off the airport, and it's like, really? What the hell are we getting into here,
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. So it was definitely an experience, for sure.
I'm gonna have to do some world traveling.
Yeah. Not me. I'm good. I'm happy here.
You're just gonna chill here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can tell me stories. Thumbs up to you.
We'll just take you out to La Mola Lake.
There you go.
I've always been afraid to go to Mexico because we're gonna watch Born in East LA.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to get in real easy. You just ain't coming back.
Yeah.
I was born here.
Yeah. Oh man.
It was fun. The bad thing about that trip was it was right kind of in the middle of COVID. So with all the restrictions, and that made it tough. And there was a few parts of it that I didn't appreciate, but
You guys almost got stuck in freaking Germany.
oh yeah, the fucking Germans stole all my shit. And that pissed me off. Cocksuckers.
The government or
The airport.
The airport.
Yeah.
security?
Freaking Robbie almost went to jail.
What, was that just a vacation, or were you actually?
No,
hunting?
that
That was
when
on
we
their way
went
back from
hunting.
Africa.
Oh,
Yeah. So normally,
copy.
normally without COVID, like you would fly from Atlanta straight to South Africa. Well, because of COVID, they had all these different routes you had to go.
I
And
got
so
ya.
we ended up with this huge layover in Germany and coming and going.
Was it a
it
typical? Oh, your stuff is lost, or did they
That- so
straight
Doug
up
and I-
say, "Yeah, we took it"?
So Doug and I supposedly our stuff never made the plane coming from South Africa. So our shit got lost. And then that's when they stole all my shit, was while they had plenty of time to mess with it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we found your suitcases, but they're empty.
Yeah. When I got my suitcase back, when the taxi dropped it off at the house like a week later, it literally looked like, and it was a brand new Sitka suitcase. And it literally looks like they kicked it out of the plane from 30,000 feet. And just I mean, it's
Tore up dirty.
tore up. Bad.
Hmm.
Yeah. They stole a bunch of the RAN. I had those coins, the change.
Sure.
I say change. Their currency, some of it was like $1 and $5, their coins.
Yeah.
And they were pretty cool. They had like gold inlays in it and stuff. They're super cool. It's so I was bringing it home for the kids and
Right.
whatnot. And so, yeah, they
Anything-
stole that.
anything of value,
And-
huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep. Bunch of batteries. It's all kinds of shit. Whatever. Fuck the Germans.
Oh man. So I guess when you're world traveling, you should just plan on having to replace shit.
Carry on.
Yeah.
Just carry on. Yeah, don't check anything.
Dude,
Unless
if
you
you're
have
going,
to.
if you're, I'm a fat guy, dude. I can't.
I know.
I can carry like
It's-
one day worth of clothes
Right.
and carry on.
Wherever you're going, you just got to make sure they have a washer and dryer.
Yeah. Wear the same thing
Wear
every
the
day.
same shit, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that'd work.
A guy I work with just told me,
I won't even do just carry on flying 2 hours away. I fly to Vegas. I've got a giant freaking check bag.
really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeez. No, I don't. I don't know. I'm so worried that my luggage is never going to make it there. So I never check
I just
anything.
roll the dice every time.
yeah.
I try my best to do direct flights because then you know your luggage is going to
Right.
be fine. But whenever else, I'm rolling the dice a little, but
Yeah.
I don't care. It's
Dude,
worth it.
we were coming home from Nashville this year, and I said, because I didn't want to deal with luggage, I told Kelsey I'm gonna check a bag. I don't want to deal with my suitcase because the plane. So it's like there's no overhead storage anymore, and everybody's bags are gotten bigger or whatever the case may be, and so I'm a cheap ass and I buy the coach class, so I sit in the back of the plane, and so by the time I get boarded, there's no room. So I just told Kelsey, I have my backpack, I'll carry that on, but I'm going to check my suitcase. I'm not my carry on, I'm not going to mess with it. And so I was all prepared to do it. And I actually had her talked into do it. And then at the last minute, she's like, nope, screw that. I'm not taking the chance. Like, fuck, we're headed home anyways, so what's the difference? And turns out we didn't check any of our bags because our flights all got delayed and canceled and rerouted, and it turned into a shit show. So that was like the one time I wanted to do it and I was all prepared for it. It got messed up and we didn't even
That's
do
the
it.
only thing I worry about with checking bags is delayed flights and canceled flights. Where the fuck's my bag at?
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Right.
But I've got it down to a science now, man. I've got a check bag or a carry on, but I don't ever even get into it.
Right.
It's just so that I have extra space, basically.
Yeah.
I've got my earbuds, my phone, a charger cable in my pocket. I'm wearing sweats so that I'm comfortable, and I'm good to go, man.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it because, like I said, I'm a fat guy. I don't fit in a plane very well, so I do everything I can to be comfortable.
Even a not fat guy, you don't fit in the plane.
Yeah, I started flying first class a couple of years ago because I can fit in those seats,
It's worth the money to you.
and it's fucking way more expensive, but fuck it, it's I can handle a short flight, but if I'm gonna fly a couple hours or so, yeah, it's not worth it, dude. I'm miserable. So,
For sure.
but yeah, so it's fun. So, so what kind of stuff do you guys do in your spare time?
What do you do, Mike?
Yeah,
You just sit over
you
there.
just sit over there, don't even talk.
No, I
He's
just
just nodding his head.
He just
sit
sits
here
there
and
and sips
listen
his
to
fucking
people.
Coors
Right.
Light.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, listen to this idiot ramble on.
The kids, that's the huge part of my life is now the grandkids, watching them, experiencing all that.
Yeah. Grandkids, man.
Stuff that you never think about early in life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here it is.
That's super cool.
Ernie waited till later in life to start his
I did.
kid.
No, it'll
kid
happen.
I'm
journey.
going to be the old one.
Yeah.
He's not even gonna be able to freaking get out of the wheelchair when his grandkids are home.
He'll be jumping.
Right.
in time. You'll be the Grandpa Jungle Gym.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like, turn Grandpa's freaking oxygen up a little bit.
Hey, you're on my cord. No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just anything that get you from just sitting at home, going out in the woods,
Yeah.
just driving. It's not in town, but
Yeah, in the woods.
yeah,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
You and Sarah still going on your crazy woods
have-
adventures?
We haven't since they moved and everything. I think we've only got to go a couple places,
Yeah.
but
She actually likes this house, so it's hard to get her out of the house.
yeah.
Oh, really?
And yeah, she's found the new love with plants, and
Oh,
And
oh
she
that's
doesn't-
right. You were telling me about that.
Plus, Mike's figured out that if he tells her that she can't bring her dog
take the
with her,
dog. Yeah,
then she won't go.
I don't want to go.
Oh.
Fine, we'll just stay
She's
here.
like, she's like, fine, we're not going then.
That's funny.
No.
Huh.
Hopefully everything works out this year. I'll get back to the normal running around stuff. I think health issues, just every life get in the way of stuff,
Right.
Unforeseen crap.
I think we need to
Yep,
try and
for
do some more
sure.
fishing this year.
I would love to.
That's the thing. You know what I want to do? So we're not doing the travel baseball this summer. So
Oh.
that's what I want. I want to go camping. Like
Okay.
just get a bunch
Just-
of us
let's
Let's
together.
do it.
and
I told
go.
Sarah I want to plan a friends and family
Yeah.
camping trip.
Even
Dude,
if
I
it's-
miss those days.
Even if it's going to find a landing somewhere.
Yeah.
Dude, if we
absolutely.
set something up at La Mola, on the backside of La Mola, there's an amazing place to go set up targets and shoot.
Okay. We found some really cool spots.
Yeah, we found an old red cinder pit.
Yes.
It's like got at least 100
Drive through the
yards. We can
brush.
take the whole
Oh,
thing
yeah.
over and freaking not worry about shooting anybody all day long,
Nice.
Yeah.
unless they deserve it.
Do we have to worry about the cops coming and digging through
No,
our
it's La
tents?
Mola, dude.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Remember
No, it's not even by the lake.
20 years ago when
Right.
well, 30 years, well, gosh, probably 30 years
You're
ago. when
aging yourself now.
Yeah, I know. Remember when the cops showed up? It was 4th of July. The cops went through all our tents and left.
Oh,
Remember because Bobby chopped down the tree
red
to put his
cinder.
tent down, and
Yeah.
he was
I
on
forgot all about
on
the
when to go
cops.
past. Yeah, and
That's
they left
when-
a note
that's
in
when
his
Jeremy
tent.
wrecked his truck.
It
That's when
was,
he got
yeah.
his DUI or almost got a DUI.
Yeah, broke his neck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was the funnest trip ever.
that was a good.
That's when
weekend.
that weird freaking crackhead came and smoked freaking crack in the middle of our camp.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hi,
And he was
guys.
so big and freaking crazy looking. None of us said a word because we're like, this guy
Right.
is crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. He was out of his mind.
Oh,
Yeah, I
man.
forgot all about that. That's so right, like 2 spots up on the opposite side of the road is where we did our elk camp this last year.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Nice.
it all that whole road, every place that's got to pull off in a camp spot is packed full of people at elk season.
No,
Yeah,
I
for the
bet.
Cascade hunt.
Yeah.
And there's like people that have big signs made that must go every year because
Yeah.
they've got like big ass signs that they like stay
So and so's camped here.
Yeah.
Something party. Right
like
here.
freaking the party camp, whatever. There was one camp that was just down from us that had like 3 or 4 big toy haulers
Yeah.
with like neon lights
Yeah.
on them.
Really.
I mean, they were like partying it up.
That reminds me of a story. So I was like, gosh, probably 13, 14 years old. And we used to go over every year. We would go to the North Sumter unit for elk
Sure.
hunting.
Yeah.
That's where we went every year. And I can remember we went for a drive. It was middle of the day. We weren't seeing nothing. And so Dad wanted to go for a drive. And so back in the day when I was a kid, it was a big family. You know, it was grandma and grandpa
Yeah.
and mom and dad and all of us. So it was a big hunting camp. And so we went for a drive. And when he was my brother-in-law, Jeff was with us. And so we were driving and we found this road and we took off on it and we drove forever. Never been out there before. And all of a sudden we come around the corner and here was this giant wall tent. Well, there was like a, I want to say it was like a little camp trailer or whatever. And then there was this giant wall tent. And then there was a smaller wall tent off to the side of it. And then they had built out of like the old wooden fence posts, the old, just the old juniper or
Sure.
whatever fence posts. They had built a bar, and they had this big Budweiser sign.
That's awesome.
Big Budweiser banner. And then there was another, they had made a sign like drink here or whatever. And then there was a sign that, bar open. And they had built a legit bar
Out in the middle
of nowhere, and here was this, they had a wall tent and then an actual bar. And there was a couple guys bellied up to the bar. They're sitting there drinking.
What are you doing for elk season?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not hunting. So
But
I just built this bar.
remember, like I said, I was pretty young, and I was thinking, man, if this is what hunting's like,
doing
this is
it.
going to be all right.
Dude, I remember when I was a kid, you would go, even up here, like you would just head up the river.
To glide, yeah.
And once you got like Susan Creek.
Yeah.
Once you got past Susan Creek, every pull off
Yep.
had people camped at it.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd go off on BLM roads or whatever, and every place big enough for a camp.
There was
There was a
somebody
camp.
camp.
And,
And Strip Road.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Oh, yeah.
up Little River, same thing. And
Elephant Mountain,
Yeah.
Mowich Loop.
Yep.
Good
I
Lord.
mean, there was hardly any gates. There was
No.
freaking
Yeah. Everything was open.
yeah.
They were cutting trees,
When-
logging.
When that-
There were so many more animals back then too.
This year or last year when Sarah had her
Oh, we didn't have wolves.
little girls camping trip,
Yeah.
I was up there the weekend before, and we were driving around looking for stuff. I don't know how they did it. It was a huge.
Was that when you and me went up?
No, it was the weekend before.
It's like a big motorhome, Monaco.
yeah
motorhome.
We're all the way up, almost dropping down.
Oh, that's
into
right. She
hours
told me
and
about that.
Just this shitty ass road, all grown over. We go down to it, and just cruising around like we do. Come around the corner and here's this town with this coach. It's like, how the
Right.
hell did you get that in here?
Wow.
Well, that's like
crazy.
that up Reynolds Ridge. That one
Yeah.
year, I
Yeah.
freaking
Dude,
dude,
Reynolds Ridge gets crazy.
I
during elk
4-by'd my
season.
freaking camp trailer into
Yes,
the
you
spot, and it was like an old horse camp.
Yeah.
And like we crossed a
Up on
creek.
top.
Well, you
Yeah,
go
it's
up
on
on
the
top and then you
backside.
drop around the backside.
Oh, I was gonna say up on top because there is a big horse camp up
we
there.
parked. We camped on the wrong side of the ridge,
And it snowed.
so it snowed. And dude, you know me. I'm pretty chill.
Right.
But Mike and Shane are pretty chill too. And both of them were shitting themselves when I was trying to get us out of there.
That was probably the only time.
And they're Mike's like, stop, let me out of here.
Let me the hell out. Somebody's got to drive
And
back
then
to get help.
Shane's like, quit driving. We're just gonna dig.
Yeah.
And we literally dug ruts to the gravel
Just two times.
for about 3/4 of a mile because these two fuckers were so chicken shit that I would slide my truck
Really?
off the fucking road.
Oh, really?
I didn't want to get stuck up there.
Yeah.
And then the following year we went back, and that's where somebody was lost in that exact spot.
Yeah.
Was where the search and rescue.
We ran
and
into search and rescue.
They put their camp up with their big antenna up.
Oh,
and
really?
We come around, another thing, out in the middle of the woods, you come around the corner, here's all these cop cars. And,
The funny
hey,
thing
what's
was,
going on?
the funny thing was, is they told us, yeah, we're looking for this guy, and they told us,
Yep.
clear, like over on the other side of the ridge. They're like, he's over here somewhere. He was last reported going out this place, blah blah blah. And we're like, well, we haven't been over that side, but we'll keep an eye out if we run into him, right? Well, literally 10 minutes before we ran into him, Shane and I were on the other side of the ridge on a trailhead where there's actually a freaking porta potty, or not a porta potty, but a little rain shitter.
Mm-hmm.
And so we pulled in there to use the bathroom. We took pictures. There's this rig parked at the trailhead. It's in our pictures.
That was the guy's
That was the
truck
guy's
that they were
truck.
looking
Oh,
for.
really?
Yeah, 10 minutes before we ran into him, we were right there. The guy had just went up the trail. It got dark, so he decided to camp before he came back to his rig.
What are the odds of that?
Yeah,
It was fun. If they would have freaking told us what he was driving, we would have been like, oh,
yeah,
he's
he's right over
he's
here.
right
right
around the
there.
corner here. He's like 1 mile up the road.
But it was Lane County, Search and Rescue, Douglas County.
Oh, wow.
They had a helicopter. And
Yeah, we
Really?
could have shown him a picture. We would have been like, yeah, he's right here.
Wow. That's pretty crazy.
yeah, it's not that. The thing that was interesting was that was like, holy shit, it was a cop car. It wasn't even a 4x4 or nothing. It was a car trying to go up.
Yeah.
Oh, go up.
Like, what is that guy doing?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Nice.
I actually thought about setting my truck up like a communication vehicle, putting a shortwave and a
Sure.
freaking good CD and
Right.
some antennas on it, just because it's kind of interesting to listen to that shit when you're up there running around. And when we are up in the mountains, we do a lot of just freaking random driving around for
Yeah.
no reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it wouldn't be. We might be actually helpful, if we're listening, and
we would think we would be.
You're not helpful.
we could be.
I mean, you might think you are, but
You never know, dude.
Yeah.
that's true. I'll give you that.
Mike and I get some shit done when we're drinking whiskey, dude. in the mountains.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
But I love your idea.
We come
of
up with
freaking
awesome
camp
ideas.
trip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Dude.
We could do some shooting during the day, some fishing,
Right.
do some freaking cornhole and drinking whiskey at night.
Great big old fire.
Fire.
Maybe throw in a poker tournament or something.
Oh, yeah, because you're the big poker guy now.
He's-
I'm trying to
He's
be.
the pro.
I was
Right.
gonna play tonight, but I think it's a bad idea.
We'll just start out small and pack a bunch of pennies up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
exactly.
have. It's just for
Yeah.
fun, dude.
Uh-huh.
We did a friends and family camping trip 3 years ago, I think. At I think we were at La Mola then
The Bull
when
Creek.
we did that one, and we we took up like 6 camp spots, I think, but we basically
Took
took over the
The whole
campground.
campground.
Like we set up a cornhole tournament in the middle of the fucking road.
Something like
Oh,
that.
nice.
We gotta
And-
kind of be careful for the next time because certain people that you invite, they're extremely loud.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
well, yeah, I'm not going to invite those people. I just want to.
Who's camping here?
Well, in a place like that, though, if we did it like at
Yeah.
La Mola,
Yeah, pretty chill.
you could camp away from the group if you want.
Yeah.
Or
Or
you don't
rent-
have to be
or-
right next door. to
right.
everybody.
Rent the group
We gotta-
campground.
Yeah, well, the group campground's probably the best bet.
We gotta take a break.
Go for it.
Okay.
Well, Mike and I can talk
Oh,
while
you're-
you're taking a break.
We don't need.
Mike probably needs another beer unless he's going to switch to whiskey.
Since you's up.
So,
It was a good
what have you
time.
been doing since last time, Mike?
Work, dealing with the everyday
So-
experiences.
So tell me about
kids.
this. You were just telling me at lunch that you guys had like a social influencer
Oh, yeah.
fishing guide.
That was awesome. I can't think of the guy's name, but it went from, like I said, I think he posted a video at 6 p.m. on TikTok. And by the following morning, there was, several thousand views. And then by the end of the business day, 2 days later, there was like over 50,000 views, which is pretty damn cool of our little local business that we do here. And just
That-
knowing
That is cool.
it turned out really, really good. Just amazing. You and I were talking, is like, with social media and all that, it's just kind of weird that a known business hasn't tapped into that yet, and
Well, I mean, honestly, I think we've talked in the past about how North River has kind of shifted their focus because they've got so
Yes.
many government agencies and
everything.
city and state agencies. They're building fire boats and police
so
boats
it's a big
and-
commercial side plus
Yeah.
the recreational side.
yeah, they do so much of that they don't need to look for business. That's why they don't have boats at marinas very
Oh, yeah.
much and that kind of stuff. But it's cool that they're actually thinking now that
Yeah.
maybe they'll reach out to the
I do
commercial
believe we
market a
have
little bit.
a communications person hired now that is gonna.
Maybe you'll get some sweet, cool swag too. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah. It'd be cool. I'll have to meet this new marketing person because
Mhm.
it'd be cool if Umpqua Survival could partner with North River on something.
On something, yeah. I will
Just pub beer.
get you the
I couldn't tell you. That's probably been in there a while.
possibly the contact info. That sounds like an excellent, brilliant plan.
It'd be a good
Local
opportunity-
businesses,
A
you
good
know.
opportunity for a lunch.
So not to digress in the conversation here, but we were back. We were talking about Lamola and whatnot, so that takes me back. So I gotta bring up Mike here, and we're gonna cheers to a good friend that is no longer with us.
Yes, sir.
How Mike and I actually met.
Yes.
So yeah,
I
Who
was
was
just
that?
Travis.
Lillard.
Oh, is that how you
Lily
get?
pad.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
So,
Actually.
so the story is a good friend of mine, Darren Conklin,
Yeah.
Yep.
introduces me to this young kid, Travis Lillard. The whole time I'm thinking he's our age because he was a big kid.
Yeah.
And my wife and I at the time were living up in Glide.
I always thought Travis was older than me.
Yeah.
So
He was big.
long story short, we're sitting there and I hear a knock on the door in the evening. Went and opened the door. It was Travis. And he gives me this long story about he lost his license or lost his ID and needed someone to go take him to the store so he could get a gallon of milk, a pack of cigarettes, and some beer. I'm like, all right, we can do that. Run up to Idlewild, get the shit that he needs, whatever, go back to drop him off, and here's Ernie standing there. And I can't remember, there was someone else standing with you guys, and Travis gets out. All right, see you later. Hey, thanks for taking me to the store, all this, buying that for me. I go to work to tell Darren, what had transpired. And he goes, that crazy fucker. I'm looking at it like, what do you mean? He goes, he's only 16 years old.
We had it planned out the whole. I didn't know Mike at all. That was the first time I'd ever met him.
Kind of.
Was he younger than you?
No, we were same age.
Oh.
Kind of surreal. I was just explaining to Gavin, my son now, on the way down here today. He's like, have I ever met Ernie? And I was like, yeah, a couple times you have. And so I'm going through he goes, I really don't remember. And I said, well, to tell you the truth, your sister Kelsey came about, her name was because of Ernie and Kelsey, because we would run around while my wife was pregnant. And then she kept coming up with these weird ass names. Wanted to name her after a river
Holy
and
shit.
all this. And
Your daughter's named after Kelsey?
Yeah,
So-
isn't that crazy?
that was the first thing. Is like
I had no
kind of
idea
an
about
argument
this.
with my wife at the time, and
God,
I
you
think
could have had
we'll-
way better taste than that.
I think Willamette, or Mackenzie or something like this. And I'm like, no, we're not doing the damn river name, all this. We're not hippie-fying shit. And she goes, well, what name would you think of? The first thing that popped up, Kelsey. Okay, that sounds fine. Just because it was, we would all been hanging out in the group, fishing, and so
That's freaking awesome, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, it never freaking. Just like when when Alicia was pregnant with Justice, she was naming off all these names I fucking hated.
Yeah.
Finally she's like, fine, what do you want to do? I said, why don't you make a list of like a dozen names and I'll pick one. This way, you pick the dozen and I'll find the one out of that
We'll
that I
break
like.
it down
And
that
then
way,
we're
right.
good.
Yeah.
So I picked Justice, was on there. She freaking fought with me till the very end. She wanted to name her Madison.
Madison.
Oh, really?
I fucking
Little
hate
Maddie.
that name.
She's not a Madison.
No, that's total fucking OnlyFans name. Yeah. No, I hated that name from the start. And that's what she wanted from the start. And I did not want nothing to do with it. So I'm happy with how we ended up. But yeah, same thing though. It doesn't matter what your opinion is. Freaking,
No.
they've already got their mindset on something. You gotta help them change their mind.
So with Gavin, after I explained the whole story with his sister and all that, and he's like, well, what about Michael? And, come to think about it, I named every one of my kids because I wouldn't accept what my wife was thinking of it. Maybe
You're like, now that I think about it, I was kind of an asshole.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's funny.
Just I made the decision, right? No, it's kind of neat. Just the history.
Well, for the most part, you're the one taking care of all of them, so it don't matter.
Yeah.
So fuck them bitches.
I guess so. That's probably why I'm divorced. I like it.
You're better off.
I had no idea about that, though. I didn't know how
Yeah.
you two had known each other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was all Travis. Travis was.
Not thinking about it, that makes total sense, though.
Yeah.
But it's like, I fell for the whole story thing. Yeah, I lost my ID somewhere. I just need a ride.
What's funny is Ernie and I became friends through Bobby.
Mhm.
But really, before I was ever friends with Bobby, I was friends with Jeff.
Yeah.
Who was
you were
married to
friends
your
with-
sister.
Yeah, you were.
I
friends.
was friends with like everybody that
Everybody.
Ernie knew.
Yeah. And you know
Small
what's you know what's
communities.
you'll love this one, Mike. So Kelsey I didn't know about this till way later, but so he used to work at the arcade.
Arcade, yeah.
Kelsey used to purposely, so she was like 12 years old.
Yeah,
at the
they
time,
were-
probably.
Big Poppy.
Oh yeah, she thought he was just the
shit.
shit, and so she used to go in there just to see
Her and her.
him.
What was that friend that she had back then?
That's
It
crazy.
was probably her and either Rochelle
I think that was it. I think it was Rochelle.
or Jamie.
No,
That-
it was
But that
Rochelle.
was- yeah.
Now,
And those two used to come in all the time. Yeah.
now I'm going to question her decision
I
making.
know,
Now,
right?
every time I
Yeah.
see it.
Right?
No.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, I was a
That's
different
funny.
guy back then.
Yes, you
Yeah, you were different, all right.
were.
But yeah, no, that was, dude, that's all I dealt with back then when I was in that arcade.
Yeah.
It was all these little kids.
Little punks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why now, I sell pepper spray and shit. And people are like, have you ever been sprayed? And I'm like, you don't even know how many
Well,
times.
to think
as a
about
matter
it.
of fact,
Yeah.
You don't know how many times I had to clear the arcade out because somebody sprayed pepper spray in there. And for like 2 hours, nobody could be in there because
Right.
you would start choking to death.
yeah.
That's crazy.
I miss that arcade.
I do too.
That
I miss
was
those
great.
I miss those days when that was what was fun.
I know.
You can't get people to do that stuff anymore.
Yeah. You,
Have you
there's
been to like
nothing
a
do.
Dave and Buster's?
I have.
Dude, that's fun. That reminds me of being a kid.
So I guess I'm old because it was just like way too loud and
Oh, well, it
obnoxious.
is. It is, but
No.
you have to try and pretend like you're a kid.
No, that ain't happening.
You have to.
I guess
take
you have
advantage
to
of
go
the
there
beer.
without kids.
Did they allow
Maybe
alcohol?
to,
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
they,
yeah.
they-
Oh, yeah.
So
I
Dave
could
and Buster's has like this. It's like a. I don't know. It looks like something out of a science lab.
Yeah.
It's like this big tall. Instead of a pitcher, it's like this big tall thing that you can like dispense beer out of.
Sure.
And you can buy those, and you can carry them around the arcade with you.
Oh,
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
it's,
That's awesome.
right.
They've got a claw machine that literally could almost pick you up.
Oh, that thing's
Sweet.
giant.
Like you need two hands to use the joystick.
Yeah.
On
It's
it.
like driving an excavator.
It's fucking awesome. I played this Star Wars TIE Fighter game where you're
Mhm.
flying like this TIE Fighter from Star Wars. I almost threw up because
of
it's
the
like
reality.
totally surrounds you in this like an IMAX type screen.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you what, I had some fucking motion sickness going on. And I was in there after I'd been drinking,
Yeah.
and the food's amazing at that place. Only reason to go to Portland, I'm telling you right now.
There's really?
Well,
There's a
unless-
reason to go to Portland.
No.
well, I'll tell you what, if you could not get in trouble for like driving around shooting people with paintball guns, I would be up there all the time shooting freaking homeless people. But
That's true.
What the hell?
That'd be all right.
That's like
But
I
I
said.
think you'd
You
end
come
up
up with
in
the
jail.
genius ideas.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah. I would go on drives all the time. I thought about buying a golf cart so I could drive the fucking
Oh, shit.
bike trail
the
here
bike
in
trail.
town.
Yeah, there you go.
You might get jumped,
Oh shit, that'd be fun, dude.
chasing you with a hammer. or
Yeah,
a
I think you're
pickaxe.
taking your life in your hands going down
Dude,
the bike
have you
path
looked
now.
at that shit
Dude, it's
right now?
crazy.
It's getting worse and worse. Now,
It's terrible.
now at least now they got everybody like they're at least they're doing a good effort of pushing people where you can't see them all the time. But like down here underneath the
Deer Creek.
like down here at the end by the
oh,
Diamond Lake
right at
Stevens
the-
exit,
Yeah.
the intersection there, and you look over there on the bike trail where the railroad tracks go
That-
through there.
Isn't there a giant tent over there now?
yeah,
like
dude,
a
that
city.
you could
Yeah.
park like I could park two of my trucks in there.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's a Taj Mahal of homeless people going on there.
with power.
with power.
Yeah, I
Generators
just don't get
running.
it, dude.
But
We need
Kelsey,
to live somewhere where the weather is way worse.
I know.
Yeah.
Kelsey was telling me, so she took Grant to baseball practice the other day, and it was at Gaddis Park.
Gaddis.
And she said they literally had to wade through, because their practice was on the far field.
Just
So
shit.
she had to literally wade through human
Shit,
shit.
or needles. Or,
And then she said there was a homeless guy sitting there in the covered area at the concession stand. Had a recliner set up. There was a couch set up
Yeah.
there. And
What the fuck,
yeah.
dude?
they're just fucking living in there.
my buddy down here at CarQuest, he's like, "Hey, check this out." You know, we thought
Yeah,
it was bullshitting.
CarQuest down there on the other side.
Oh,
That's
dude.
where it's all
Yeah.
at.
It was
That's unreal.
a couple
down
months
there.
ago. The bad weather, and they were there with the goddamn couch, 2 generators running, like a 60-inch TV under a blue tarp. Sitting
Really?
back. Yeah. He's like, "Check this shit out."
What the
Well,
fuck?
Did you? So, have you seen the little city underneath the bridge?
On the
They have it fenced in
Yeah.
between the Oak Street. And
Harvard. Yeah.
yeah. So they got a whole pile of solar panels all set up.
Holy
Not-
crap.
yeah,
Dude, it's fucking crazy.
it's unreal.
I don't
But
get
that apparently that one there,
What
that
do you
Bernie or whatever his name is paying for that.
So that
Because
place
they got
under the,
the-
do
bridge,
for the Elk Island?
those
Yeah,
people
they
that
got
live
the-
down there under the bridge,
Mm-hmm.
those guys have to actually take drug tests, and they have a fucking curfew.
Yeah. No alcohol.
Oh, really?
supposedly.
Yeah, if they're not back in that fenced area by a certain time, they're not allowed back.
Oh shit!
And so, I mean, at least they're trying to do something.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm personally, if it was me, I would pay $100 a month tax, call it a bus ticket tax, to fucking buy a bus ticket to somewhere the fuck
ship
else.
them out of
dude.
here. Yeah. Problem is they just keep coming back, and then you got other cities that are doing the same thing that are
Pushing
just
them
shipping
right
them.
here.
Well,
back
that's
down here,
that's when
so-
I've said that to other people. They're like, "That's how those people
That's how
got
they
here."
get here.
You know, but
Unfortunately.
it's fuck. I just don't understand where that came from. That wasn't around when we were kids. There was a few
There-
homeless people, but they were like
But you know what was cool?
homeless people.
They were legit human beings, though. They
Yeah.
weren't pieces of shit.
They
And they would actually go. You bought them a beer, they would buy you a case of beer.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. Y'all, we
Dude, I
Jason
remember
Bunnell
that.
and I.
I remember
We had
J&J Market, dude.
we had Ron, his name was Ron, and he was the bum, and he lived there at the duck pond.
sure.
And I can remember Jason. I swear to God, Jason's mom was going to kill us one day. So we gave Ron whatever money we had,
Yeah.
and he went in Fred Meyer's, bought us beer, and got him whatever he got, you know. And Jason, I will say I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Jason, but he's kind of a squirrely kind of. When he was a kid, he was pretty squirrely. So, but he had a huge heart. He cared for everybody, right? So we take Ron, the bum, the homeless guy, back to Jason's house so he could take a shower. And while he was in the
Why don't you come
shower,
home with us?
yeah. So while he was in the shower,
Mom didn't
Jason
like that,
washes his clothes for him, and his mom come home right in the middle of all this.
Huh? Oh, shit.
And just lost her shit. I mean, literally lost her
Can you
shit.
imagine if Grant did that?
I will.
You would lose your shit.
I know I would. I would lose my shit, but I would almost expect it from him.
Testing your patience.
Yeah.
That kid, well, when you have Carlos teaching the kid life lessons, I
Yes.
mean, you
Hey,
expect.
those are good lessons.
Those are, you started out
Yeah.
good life lessons. I just don't know where it's going to go and
They
lead
will
to.
continually get better.
Age appropriate.
Right.
It's got to be age appropriate.
As he
Yeah.
gets older, they will fit with his age.
The hell was he?
Me and Danny-
Was he 3 years
me
old
and
when you taught
Danny
him how
will-
to build a fire?
Dude. And look at him now.
I know he is
will
a
survive.
pyro son of a bitch.
He will survive in the wilderness.
Dude,
That's
I've never
awesome.
seen a kid want to build a fire so bad in my life.
Look what I can do.
Yeah, it's unreal.
That's great.
His mom appreciated that one.
That's
Hey, all I
awesome.
did was start it.
Oh yeah,
Dominic actually taught him how to build the fire, and Dominic's younger than he
That's
is.
true.
Blame it on the kids. Yeah.
That's true.
Actually, I think Dominic's older than him, but
The best one. So you gave him that gas mask.
Yeah, you told me
So-
about Mr. Tactical in the neighborhood.
Oh,
over
yeah.
there.
So, so for Christmas, he got a bunch of money for Christmas, and he wanted, I don't know where this came from, but he wanted a ghillie suit. And so we had looked around. Well, I ended up taking him down to Medford to the Army surplus store.
Is that store pretty cool?
It is, but it's not like, remember the Army surplus when we were
Yeah,
kids?
yeah.
I mean, that was cool, right? Now it's like glorified and it's fucking expensive.
Sure.
Holy shit, it's expensive.
Kind of
Like,
when
There was an
sportsmen-
Army surplus store in Portland when I lived up there, and they had like the whole ceiling of it was a big Kwanzaa hut that they had
Yeah.
turned into an Army
Mhm.
surplus store, and like the ceiling was covered in like big camo nets.
and the parachute.
There was a
Mhm.
fucking
helmets,
Jeep parked in the
Jeep.
middle of that
Right.
place with a 50 cal on it.
Yep.
Yeah,
And I mean,
cool stuff.
Yeah.
like I could have hung out there
Actual-
all
We
day.
We live
long.
there, yeah.
Army surplus. Real.
Right, real
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, so I take him down there and he buys, with his own money, he buys a ghillie suit, a flak jacket, minus the armor
Plates.
plate.
Sure.
Yeah. A hit or a leg holster for his airsoft. Something. Oh, a hand grenade. And he hung that hand grenade off his vest. Put the gas. So we get home and first thing he puts a ghillie suit on, goes hides outside and scares the shit out of his mom.
Gotta do
So
it.
that was the first thing.
Gotta do it.
Got
yes.
that out of the system. Well, next thing,
Yes, it works.
yeah. So next thing he dresses all up in this. He's got his hip holster or his leg holster. He's got an airsoft in it. He's got that flak jacket on with his hand grenade hanging off of it. And then he had a hip holster, or not a hip holster. He had there was a holster on that vest.
Best, yeah.
And he had must have been an airsoft hanging out of it as well.
He had that full auto airsoft AK or AR that you bought him.
That was a BB gun.
yeah.
So he had that. And so he went trompsing through. So even though we live out in the country, there's still houses. There's still some neighborhood or houses around and stuff. And so his buddy lives across the field, and so he crosses our field and then goes underneath the fence and goes over to the buddy's house, and that's kind of a neighborhood.
Right.
And so he goes over there, and I just look down, and him and Brooks are all decked. Both of them are all decked out, and all their.
He's got his
Yeah.
gas mask on and shit.
And he's got Grant's got his gas mask on, and all I can think is, when are the fucking cops going to show
Someone's
up?
calling
'Cause
it in.
someone's going to call this in. Luckily we made it through that phase, but now he just bought there again. He got some money for birthday or whatever it was. It must have been his birthday. So he bought a SIG replica BB gun.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear to God, if you don't, you cannot tell the difference.
No, they're exact
They're
replicas.
exact.
Even the mag looks the same.
Yeah. And so he still throws his flak jacket on, or his flak vest, and so that one I told him, I'm like, dude, you gotta, like, if you go to Brooks, I don't care, you can go to Brooks' house, but don't be running up, don't hop on the mopeds and ride up and down the street, don't go down to Del Rio, because the cops are gonna get called.
Don't take it to school.
Yeah. So he-
cool.
Dude, I
But
love that kid. He's hilarious.
Dude, he
awesome.
cracks me up.
He's freaking awesome.
He scares me though, because he is like, from the word go, he was all about guns.
Let's do it. Yeah.
I don't know where he could have got that from.
Right?
Yeah.
Dude, he begs to come to this store.
That's awesome.
He hasn't been in a long time.
He hasn't been in a
Future
while.
customers.
Yeah.
We need to
Then
look
you can tell
through
all
some
his
of my
little
stuff.
friends and-
Look through what I can order and find him something good for Christmas or something.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that's funny shit.
You can tell all his little friends and
Oh yeah. Oh, I know,
just
right?
send them all down here.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I've got a lot of kids. We've got a good amount of kids whose parents bring them in here.
Right.
And I mean, a lot of them can't afford a lot of stuff, so they'll walk around and they don't end up not buying anything. But I mean, they're going to be future customers.
Oh, yeah.
They're all about it. That's
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, they love it. So that's part of
what's
why
cool,
I bring
though.
so much stuff that's not guns, is
Yeah.
because they like all that other
Everything,
stuff. I mean,
yeah.
they're all about trying to figure out the survival stuff.
Mm-hmm. And that's what's cool too. Like partner with like South Umpqua Rod and Gun Club, and have a kids' day,
Yeah, I want to do something like that soon. I need
or
to figure
do
something
like
out.
when they do the hunter safety.
Sure.
You partner with Fish and Game and the Rod and Gun Club and all that, and do a kids' day, because that's where it's at. Kids, right?
There is actually. I should get a hold of that guy because he should be having that pretty soon. Over on the coast, there's a guy, and I think it's through a church. I'm not sure, but they do a thing every year. They started a couple years ago, where they take. It's like a father-son, father-daughter, whatever. It's like a kid and their parent, and they do it's a 2-day thing. They do where they camp out, they shoot guns, they have to build fires. They do all these different survival things,
Activities, right?
and they get points based off of time.
Mm.
And then they win prizes that are sponsored by all these different businesses or
nice.
whatever.
That'd be
And
cool.
I sponsored it year before last. Dude, I think that's awesome. I think
That's
more
cool.
places need to do stuff like that.
Mhm.
If I could partner with someone to help me out on that, I would probably do something like that. Here in
Local.
Roseburg,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. Maybe see if the Rod and Gun Club would let us use their facility or something to do it
Mm-hmm.
for a day. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I bet I could do it. I bet I could partner with National Guard or something.
But there's a lot of people I think that would be on board with that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And then they have Sutherland's got a preparedness festival. They got one day there at their park downtown
Oh, really?
where they've got, but they're more geared towards they've got the fire department and DFPA and that stuff there.
Oh, right.
But I thought about partnering up with them and maybe teaching some kind of a class there or something. But I think we need to try and put some more of that kind of stuff around town. Because I like bringing little kids into things because, they're the future of everything.
Absolutely.
Just like the whole hunting mentor program, which I don't quite understand. I mean, basically, you're just taking your kid hunting, which you would do either way. So
Yeah, well, they just lowered the age limit. It used to be 12. Now they can start hunting at 9, but they're using your tag.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only difference. But
And it gives you that extra weekend, doesn't it? You can, if you're hunting with a mentor.
no, mentors don't. That's just strictly
The
juvenile.
tag, the way I understood it.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, that'd be fun either way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need to get out there and hunt more this year for sure. My problem was I got that tribal hunting thing going on this last year.
Right.
So I kept telling myself, I got plenty of time.
No.
And then,
Yeah, and then you
we had
Never do.
2 weeks left, and me
Never
and Mike
do.
were like, let's go.
Yeah.
We got to go, dude. We got to
Right.
go.
What? I don't remember. Something happened because we were going to go deer hunting down Tiller, but
You probably fucked it up.
well, I'm sure. Yeah, you tell me that every time.
Always.
But I want to say that a storm blew in or something, or no, you got sick. That's
Oh,
what it was.
yeah. I
You
was
got
sick. I
sick.
remember. That's right. I fucked it up.
Yeah.
Didn't you go to, wasn't that about the end of hunting season when you went on a trip too and you were all sick and
Probably. I don't know. I do remember me and Ernie had plans to go hunt, and I was fucking sick.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, I can't go. I'm fucking sick.
Yeah.
the guy
that
that
sucks.
never gets sick?
I know,
got
right?
sick.
Yeah.
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 I never do,
got the
but then
best
I
immune
will when
system
I've
ever.
got something going on.
When you get sick, you get sick.
Yeah. It's fucking bullshit.
Sarah would agree.
Right on. Well, I think we freaking talked about a lot of good shit.
Yeah.
We had good conversations. Ernie
Always.
fucking filled us in on
The
some
Mexican
hunting
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
and he didn't tell us all his stories, so
He saved
I
some.
still got some more stories.
he's got some more shit. And for someone that doesn't talk very much,
Yeah, he sure
I
did.
know.
he talked a lot. Mike didn't even have to say nothing.
I was just in
He
awe.
just
I'm like,
sit over there and shake his head.
my head
He
is
did.
just on a swivel right here,
Yeah.
watching.
You know where I would like to go hunt in the future? My last big hunting trip with my family as a kid was in the Steens.
Yeah,
So one of these
Oh, we
days,
talked about this.
I'd like to do a Steens hunting trip.
memories. Yeah,
Yeah, just because. Well, I haven't been there in years, so I would like to just go check it out first, and then I'd like to set up some kind of hunting trip over there. I think it'd be fun.
I can tell you, just because I have firsthand experience, it's not the same.
Yeah,
yeah.
And the problem is, one of the problems is, I mean, you got Fish and Game who just absolutely screwed hunting in Oregon, period. But you had people determine or decide that was a trophy unit,
Yep.
all because you had one or two guys that killed some pretty nice bucks there. All of a sudden, it became a trophy unit.
And that's
And so now, I mean, you're looking at a minimum of 8 years to draw that tag.
the nice thing
So-
is I got this trouble hunting now.
I don't.
So all I'm doing is collecting points because I'm not even getting my freaking ODFW shit at all. I'm just buying my point savers.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just paying point savers every year because I'm not hunting.
Well, you're hunting the tribal
I'm just hunting.
stuff.
I'm just
Yeah,
not
you're
hunting
just
through
not doing that.
ODFW.
Right.
just
So,
building points up.
So in the future, though, it might be cool. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just don't know
it
if
just-
it's worth hunting there. Is there animals there now?
It's few and far between.
Yeah.
I was there 8 years ago, and I got lucky. I killed a really nice buck there, but I also hiked. We hiked.
You worked for it.
Yeah, we hiked in 5 miles and set up a camp, just a small bivvy camp, and we hunted out of there. And I was a mile away from camp when I killed that buck.
Jesus.
So, and it was just my dad and I, and so my dad was 60. So he would have been like 62, 63 at the time. And he's got a bad back and whatnot. So he was not a lot of help. And so it was a job to get the animal out of there. But
I'll go explore it first
It's-
before I do a hunt over there. But
Sure.
yeah, it's one of those, so the Steens is, you got the east side and you got the west side. The west side, there's just one road. It's just the loop road. And that's it. And so people hunt off of that. And I mean, you're not going to kill anything big off of the
Gets
loop
the
road.
most pressure.
Yeah. The east side, there's areas that you can hunt, but it's all on foot. I mean, you're going to hike, you're going to do a lot of hiking, and it's big country. I mean, big country.
nice.
So that's a tough unit to hunt.
Yeah, I remember when we went on that hunting trip when I was a kid. It was, like I said, it was years ago. I was little. That was the year that I did snipe hunting
with the bag. and
with a
stick.
bag. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I was little. But we literally had, and it was elk season. I think we had like 5 elk hanging up in our camp
Sure.
before we left
that was
In the Steens.
in the Steens. I
Wow.
mean, we freaking smoked them over there. And
family. Yeah.
that year, I have some cousins in Texas or something. And they flew out to hunt with us, and I mean, we had probably had like 20 people in our camp, and it was family. It was all family. So it was pretty
Interesting.
cool.
So in all the years that I've been hunting there, I've only seen elk there one time, and I've never seen them since.
Yeah, I don't know.
Carlos killed them all.
Apparently,
Wiped
I
them
didn't.
out.
I didn't kill nothing. I was like fucking
He was
10 years old.
Busy
Right.
chasing the bird, right?
Yeah.
The bird.
But yeah, I'd also like to get over there and kill an antelope. I think that'd be cool.
That's on my bucket list. That's
Yeah.
a bucket list. I
Antelope
want an antelope. I've never antelope hunted. I've gone with people.
I've heard that's a lot of glassing and longer range shooting.
It can be,
Yeah.
or you sit in a blind on a water hole. So you're either sitting on a water hole or you're sitting somewhere glassing. Or
Sarah's cousin says they get antelope on their property quite a bit over out of Klamath, but he says it's usually on the California side.
Oh, gotcha.
But he said they see antelope quite a bit. So, I mean, I know they're over there.
Yeah.
But it would be cool to kill one. I mean, I've never done that at all.
I mean, we actually have a pretty good population of antelope.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
The problem is,
It's hard to get a tag,
It's
isn't it?
hard to get a tag.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you draw it on your first time ever with no points, you get put in. You have a better chance of drawing it then. Otherwise, gosh, you're looking at a minimum of 12 to 15 years to draw.
You know what we need to do?
A bad.
And this does not interfere with your fucking guiding seasons. We need to go to Eastern Oregon and kill fucking squeaks
squirrels,
or ground squirrels or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
go rabbit hunting and
that shit is fun.
yeah,
Because that's just parking in a field and pulling the trigger.
Yep.
All day long.
That's I want to take Grant.
Oh yeah, he would love it.
It's
Yeah, he would love it.
he
We could sit there. We could set up a barbecue grill, friggin' barbecue, have some drinks, shoot all day.
Yep,
It'd be fun,
for
dude.
sure. Yeah, that'd
Mike
be
could
a
be down
great
for that.
time.
Mike could go with that.
Hell yeah.
You want to go kill some fucking ground squirrels and shit?
Yes. Talking about Klamath? Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or over that direction, anyways.
Yeah, I remember back to my apprenticeship days. I was working in Klamath Falls. You remember that? I was working and living in Klamath Falls on that cogen. We had some of the journeymen came to work on Monday after the weekend, and they're like, "Oh, dude, we just had the greatest weekend ever. We found this. They ran into some old boy at like the local feed store or whatever. Got to bullshitting with him, and so this guy lived in Sprague, and he had this huge ranch."
Just invited him out.
And he invited him out. And so they were telling us about it. Well, then it was like 2 weeks later, we all went. And so this guy had it was an old Willie's Jeep, just beat to rat shit, right? And he provided it. And this tells you how long ago this was. So he provided the Jeep and the gas, provided the 22 ammo. You just provided the gun. And you sat out there and just shot
Here's
squirrels.
a couple bricks. Go do it.
That's the
it's
thing.
awesome.
He'd hand, like there was 4 of us that went, and he gave each of us a brick,
Yeah.
and said, "If you run out, come back. But here you go. I'd just have fun."
Yeah.
And man, I've never shot so much.
All
All day.
Dude, it's funny because you can kill them. You just shoot. You just don't even have to move. You just shoot for an hour or two, and then maybe move 100 feet. Do it again,
And then go back.
You go back to the same
Yeah.
spot again, and all the dead bodies are gone because they drug them.
Because they drug them all off. Yeah, that's what I like is when their buddy comes out to drag them off. You just pop that one off too.
It's so fun.
My brother-in-law in Terrebonne, he has a man lift for the big pneumatic tired man lift.
Oh yeah.
Raise that thing up, probably 16 feet up. He's got his own golf.
Oh, shit, I never thought about that.
They
That'd be
just sit
all
up
right.
there with a jug of tea or beer and
That would be
the
all
rock
right.
chucks and the ground, the rats.
Dude, rock chucks are amazing.
Dude, them
They
things
make
are huge.
They make the biggest popping sound when you
Yep.
shoot them. And there's just this red mist.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. Yeah. That's a trip that would be fun. I've got Sarah's cousin has like 30,000 acres over out of Klamath.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, doesn't what about
in
Gary?
another?
Maybe
Maybe
it's
you have a
April.
bunch of.
I was going to
No,
say
Gary's just
April
lives
and
on-
May are probably the
He
best
lives.
times to
He
go.
lives right down the road from them. Actually.
Oh,
Just depending on the
But
snowpack. But
I'll have to ask him because that'd be fun. We could go do that. So Sarah would hang out with her cousin the whole weekend, and
Yeah,
we could be out shooting.
sure.
They usually if we go over there and stay, they'll freaking pull a bunch of steaks out, and they got those big like 1-inch thick.
Big cattle
Big
ranch.
fat-
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and
we
can
were saving
barbecue
these
and-
for.
nice.
But I think it'd be fun actually to go. Actually, I'll take my RV and shit. We can just pull out on the freaking field,
Yeah.
and we'll just camp right there.
That'd be
We'll
fun.
grill right there. We'll freaking camp.
Let's do it.
I mean, we might have to make a trip into Klamath because they actually have a strip club. That'd be all right.
Oh, I thought he was going to say for alcohol.
I know that's where I thought he was going with
They
it.
sell
too,
alcohol at the strip
He
club.
wants to be Big Poppy there too.
but- right? He's well known in Coos Bay, you know.
Yes, I heard.
Yeah.
He's got the. I think his picture's on the wall there.
Oh, I'm sure
But yeah, I think that'd be fun.
that would be fun.
Either way, it'd be fun to. I just do that. It's just fun because you're just pulling the trigger nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Start changing all calibers. Let's try this.
I
try
like
this
17
gun.
out there.
Let's try this gun.
I like
Let's try
my
this gun.
17
Yeah.
out there. I took my 22 out the first time I went, and it did okay.
Yeah.
But some of the shots I wanted to make, I just couldn't do with my 22.
Too far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was just, you get out there a little
Wind.
ways, and it starts wanting to move, and the bullet starts dropping, and
Like, let's
17 doesn't do that as much.
See what this $28 sword do.
Yeah, exactly.
That might be a little overkill. But yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah. Anyways, I already said that I think we're a good spot to stop. So,
Yeah, we were gonna wrap it up.
yeah. So I guess we'll wrap it up. Thanks for coming, Ernie.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's not quite as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Mike and I were
I
talking.
might actually do
Mike
it
and I
again.
thought you
Yeah.
might be chicken. That's why we
I
thought
know.
you weren't coming.
Yeah.
You might say something wrong.
Yeah.
I am politically incorrect, you know.
Oh, you did fine.
That's why I'm not on the radio. That's why I'm just
Thank
doing a regular
God.
podcast.
Yeah.
I said I'm not going to censor what we say. So.
Yeah. At doing those TV shows, they have to censor me a lot.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. You're in the show for like 2 seconds. They're like, why were you in it so little? I'm like, because I wouldn't quit talking.
I was there the whole time.
No, it's not the fact that I wouldn't quit talking. It's just I like
Kept saying the
cussing.
wrong thing.
Yeah.
They don't like the F word.
Yeah, they frown against that one.
Well, podcast, you can cuss as much as you want.
Nice.
And if people don't like it, then they don't have
It's a
to
great
listen to it.
adjective.
Yeah.
Descriptive.
That's right.
Very.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming out. And maybe we'll do it again sometime.
Right on.